In this video, I'm going to be showing you how exactly you can create a Google Forms clone using HTML, CSS, JavaScript, PHP and MySQL. This is going to be a very informative project. So let's move on to a computer screen and let's get started. The very first thing that I am thinking about doing is installation of XAMPP. Now you must be thinking, what exactly is this XAMPP and why am I talking about XAMPP? But let's Google search XAMPP and I'll show you what it is. So XAMPP is basically a PHP development environment. It makes it easy for us to use Apache, MariaDB, PHP and Perl at the same time. You will say that, hey, I don't know all these things. How do I use XAMPP? But I'll tell you how to use XAMPP. You simply have to download XAMPP for your operating system. I'm doing it for Mac. For Windows, it's even straightforward. Simply download and install. And I'm waiting for it to install. So let's wait for it to install and I'll be back. So this has finished downloading. Let's install this DMG, yes. Let's double click it and it says that XAMPP OS installer cannot be opened because the developer cannot be verified. Cannot verify this app is free from malware. Okay, so let me show you how to install it. So all you need to do is click on XAMPP below locations and right click it and click open and it will be open. And it is asking for my Mac password. You can use password or Touch ID. If you are on Windows, the process is pretty straightforward. So you don't even have to worry about it. Alright, now we'll wait for this installer to run and let's wait. And it says welcome to XAMPP. Next. Okay, so it is installing. And if you are on Windows, the process is, let me repeat once again, very straightforward. So let's wait for it to install. I will wait. So generally speaking, this took some time to install and I gave it its time and now I can simply click finish and XAMPP will be launched. As you can see, all I need to do at this point is click on go to application and XAMPP, as you can see, has been installed. I can simply go to PHP my admin and it says invalid settings, no such file or directory. Let me open this and connect things first. So I can click on manage servers. I can start the MySQL database and the moment I start MySQL database, everything should be good. So MySQL database is starting and it is taking some time. Now it's running. Let's see if I can refresh. And yes, PHP my admin is working. I want to open it with Chrome. So let's open it with Chrome. And as you can see, PHP is now working. I can create a new database by simply going to databases and create database. Let's call it MyForm and I'm going to create it. So a database named MyForm has been created. I'm not yet creating any table at this point because I want to write some code first and I want to connect PHP to this MySQL database and I want to create a UI as well. So a lot of work to do. Let's go to getbootstrap.com and let's start working on the UI. And before that, I want to go to Code Playground and create a directory for this project. Let's call this folder as MyForms. So MyForms is the name of this project. Let's open this folder. Let's open a terminal. Code dot and this folder opens in VS Code. Let me create a file called index.php. Okay, let's call it index.php and let me show you something. As you can see, this Apache web server is running. Okay, I can configure this and I can open the conf file and I can see where my server root is. It's inside application, XAMPP and XAMPP files. Okay, so this is the location of my server root. What is server root? Well, server root is a place where Apache server will look for files. Let's close this and let's close this as well. And let's open this server root. Where exactly is this server root? I can go to applications. I can go to XAMPP. Where is my XAMPP? XAMPP. Okay, here is the XAMPP folder and I can go to htdocs and inside this htdocs, I can create any folder and that folder will appear as a PHP project. Okay, let me show it to you. So I'll open this in new tab and I will move this folder that I just created inside of htdocs. So I'm trying to move this folder and I have moved this folder and I'm going to say code dot And now I've opened this folder. Okay, I trust the authors, and let's edit this file. I'll say hey hello. Okay, now how do I access this file? I can simply go to localhost /my forms, and hey hello is visible. And if I try to execute PHP inside of this folder, I can do that. Let me show it to you. I can say PHP, and then I can do something like this. And now if I say echo hello world and semicolon, this will execute. This is something which will otherwise not execute. If we have an error in this file, this will not execute. So let me do one thing. Let me move this to desktop. Let me move this Chrome to desktop 2. And yes, let's write some gibberish here and let's try to execute it as a PHP script. And this will actually not execute. Let me show it to you. If I say echo star semicolon, if I reload this, view page source, hello world is being printed. Let me see what's wrong. If I say hello world 2, and if I refresh, hello world 2 is printed, but this is not being printed. Let me say $, and let me see if we get an error. Now, as we just saw, the errors are not visible, so we'll have to go to php.ini and edit it if you want to see the errors. Now, do this only if you want to genuinely see the PHP errors. If you are okay with not seeing PHP errors, that should be fine. Okay, so let's find out where php.ini file is. We'll go to php man. I think I'll have to find where php.ini is. php.ini. Okay, so somewhere here, I guess, php.ini. You can simply Google, where is php.ini in XAMPP, something like that. Let's Google it. Let's Google it. Where is php.ini file XAMPP? Okay, let's locate php.ini. It's inside /opt. I think I need to find it for Mac, so it's inside etc folder. Let's see if we have an etc folder. php.ini. okay, I just found it. So let's open it with VS Code and error, display errors, default value is on. Let's display errors. Okay, so display errors is off. We'll have to make it on. Let's save it and we'll have to restart the server. Now do this only if you want to see the errors. And I want to see the errors because I'll say restart all. I want to see the errors because I'm developing something. And when you're developing an application, you will be interested in errors. I am indeed interested in errors. So we are restarting all these things. But in the meantime, we'll go and write some code. So all we need to do at this point is first create an HTML file with our form fields. Okay, let's do it. So we'll go to getbootstrap.com, and Bootstrap is a library. It is very powerful. It is extensible. It is amazing. You can customize it with Sass, but the most important thing about Bootstrap is that you can simply copy paste and build your UIs without any hassle, which is the reason I personally use it. So you can go to docs and copy the template. Let's paste it here. Let's save. And let's see if we are able to get this hello world window or not. Okay, so let's see if this file changes. Yes, this changes to hello world, which is amazing. Okay, now all we need to do is build a form, because once we build the form, we can connect it with PHP, and we have forms here. Let's go to overview and let's copy this basic form. Okay, let us say we are making people fill forms for a gym membership. Okay, let us say that we want to take some information from people and we want to request them for a gym membership. So I can do something like this: join Harry Fitness, 20% off if you sign up now. Okay, and before this h1, I want to put this h1 inside a container. First of all, container, and I also want to add a nav bar. So let's add a nav bar. We can go to components. We can go to nav bar. Let's copy this nav bar and let's paste it here. And let's change this to Harry Fitness. And you can have home, about us, bunch of different pages. But let me show you how it looks like at this point. If I reload the page, you can see Harry Fitness, home, about us. You can have a search. If you want to change the text from drop down, feel free to do that. Okay. Now inside my container, I want to add margin 2 and padding y2. These are all Bootstrap classes for adding margin and padding. As you can see that we got some spacing at the top of this heading, which is amazing. Okay, this is what I wanted. Now we can go to this getbootstrap.com page and we can go back to forms because I want to copy paste some form components. Let's go to overview. Let's copy this basic form and I think this should do the trick. Let's paste this form and let's format the document. So right click, format document. Why don't I see format document? Because let me change this to HTML, format document. Okay, cool. All right, so this is how it looks. Did you just notice we created a UI in a matter of minutes? Otherwise, creating this UI using simple HTML, CSS, JavaScript is going to take a lot of time. So this is the power of Bootstrap. And if you're interested in dark navbar, because I got a lot of comments where people say that what if we want a dark navbar? How do you do that? You simply add two classes, navbar and bg dark. That's it. And this thing as well. We need to add this thing as well. Data BS theme is equal to dark. So add this to your navbar. Let's cut these classes and let's paste it and let's remove this. Okay, so this is something which is amazing, and let's reload, and yes, it changes our navbar to a dark navbar. And let's edit the title as well. Also, if you want to get rid of this horizontal scroll bar, I personally love this horizontal scroll bar during development, but when I'm creating a video, I kind of hate it. So what I do is I always go to command palette and I toggle word wrap. And I also like to turn the screencast mode on, which will tell you which key I'm pressing. Let's change this Bootstrap demo to Harry Fitness, 20% discount on gym membership. Okay. All right. So Harry Fitness, 20% discount on gym membership. Join Harry Fitness, 20% off if you sign up now. Now let me show you something. If you want to create a landing page, you can always go to Bootstrap 5 snippets landing page gym form. I'm simply making a Google search, nothing fancy there. And let's see if we can find some free template, because at times you will get some good templates, like amazing good templates. I'll show you if we can find some snippets somewhere. You can always go fancy and start searching on Google. Sometimes you will find some paid templates, but those are worth it. If you really like something, you can always buy it. But at this point, I'm going to keep it very simple and I want to keep it this way. And let's see what information we want to keep and what information do we want from the user. So the very first thing that we want from the user is name. So very basic thing is a name. Okay, so let's duplicate it and let's ask for user's name. So we'll say name and type is equal to text. Type is going to be text. Let's change the ID to name and let's make it name. For is equal to name and ID is equal to name. And okay, so I think we cannot change the ID to name because we already have a name. Let's remove this, and this will look like this, name. I can say Harry, email address harry@cwh.com. No password. We are not interested in any password at this point. So let's change this to a text field or maybe a number field, and I'll show you something. You can always say input colon, and if you say number or month or password, You can always do that. Okay, as you can see, you can find bunch of different types of input. So I'm going to use number here. So let's use number. As you can see, that type is equal to number, and I'll say phone number, and let's make it phone. We can also have type is equal to phone, by the way, and ID is equal to phone. And as you can see, it looks like this. So we have name, we have email address, we have phone number, and I need couple discount, or let's say couple discount. I need the couple discount. So if there are two people going to the gym for a gym membership, most of the gyms, they give couple discount. And if you check this box, then this means that you need couple discount and the gym will consider it. Okay. But at this point, what we want to do is we want to connect to our database. And after connecting to our database, we want to store all these things once the form submits. So I'm going to submit this form, and for submitting this form, I'll say action is equal to slash, and I'll say method is equal to post. And we are using a post request on this endpoint, on the same endpoint. Okay. So let's write some PHP. I'll say PHP question mark PHP, and let's close this PHP thing. Now I want to write some PHP code. So I'll switch the language to PHP. Here I will try to connect to my database first and store all these values to the database. PHP form post request example PHP docs. Okay, so let's go to PHP docs and let's see how to connect to the database. So this is how you can connect to the database. So you can go to the PHP documentation and search for connection, or you can simply search for MySQL. And once you search for MySQL, you can go to MySQLi, and you can also use MySQL and go to quick start. Let's see if they have any examples or some quick start guide. So this is how you connect to a database. So MySQL extension overview example, as you can see. Let's copy this code and let's paste it here. So we are connecting to the MySQL host, which is localhost, and our user is blank, password is blank. Let's see what our username is. What is the username, or rather default username for XAMPP? Let's look at it. Let's go to structure, and is there any way to see the username? Let's click on home and let's see what the user is. Let's search for user. Okay, so user is root at localhost. So we'll have to change the username to root, and the password is blank. And let's see if we are able to connect to the database or not. So I'm reloading. It says uncaught error, call to undefined function MySQL connect. Call to undefined function MySQL connect. Let's see what's wrong. Let's go to Stack Overflow. And it says that in case you're using PHP 7 already, the formerly deprecated functions were removed entirely, which means that we'll have to use MySQLi. So let's use MySQLi, not a problem at all. Let's use MySQLi. We'll go to quick start guide. I want to go to quick start guide and connections. And yes, this is how we connect to the database. So let's copy this code instead of that one, and let's click on root, and password is blank, and the name of the database is, let me check what the name of the database is. So we just created a database called MyForm. So I'll say MyForm, root, blank, MyForm, and let's see if this works. I'll close this tab and I'll take this tab here, and let's reload. It says access denied for user password. So let's make it root, let's make it blank, let's make it MyForm, and let's see if this works. Yeah, so it says localhost via Unix socket, which means we are connected to the database. Now let's see how we can simply execute some statements. And as you can see that we can execute a query like this. So it says MySQLi query, and let's see if we can create a table by executing this query. So let's start with this statement. Let's see if we are able to execute a query. We are going to create a table called Harry Fitness. Let's say, let's create a table called Harry Test, and let's see if we are able to do that. If I reload and if I check my form database, let's see if Harry Test is there. Yes, so the table is being created. Now all we need to do is execute the SQL queries, or rather correct SQL queries, and get the data into the database. I think it's easy from here. So let's get rid of this, and all we need to do is run these query functions at the correct time. Alright, so let's now create a table in our database, and let me show you what kind of table we want to create in our database. I'm going to comment out this query, and I don't want to execute this through PHP because I don't want to create a table every time somebody visits this page or submits this form. Okay. Now let's move back to phpMyAdmin. You can click on browse and then you can click on structure. Let's create a new table and let's call it my form. And let's have a serial number. It will be integer. Let's have another field which is going to be name. Let's make it text field. Let's have email field, and this is going to be a varchar. Let's have phone number, and I want to keep phone number as a varchar as well. Phone number, or rather let's make it phone. So we have name, we have email address, we have phone, and let's also add a text area, and we want to call it as query. So if somebody has any query, they can always submit the query to the form. So let's find out the text area. One thing I love about Bootstrap is their search functionality. You can always search something you are looking for, and it will be provided to you. So let's paste this text area somewhere here. Okay, and your query, leave a comment here. Write your query here, and let's call it query, and that's it. And this is how the form looks. And I want to get rid of this localhost via Linux socket. I just wanted to test it and I don't need it anymore. So let's comment this line out, and this will go. And also I want to add some padding. There is no padding, so it has form floating. Let's add this class MB3 and form check, and let's remove this form floating class. Should be good. Yes, it is. Your query is at the bottom. I don't know why. Let's put it at the top, and let's refresh your query. I don't know why is there a padding. So let me switch to HTML and let's do format document MB3 form check for is equal to query, and okay. So let's reload this. I don't know why this is moving towards the right, and I want to fix it ASAP. So let's fix this text areas, and this is a simple text area. So let's use this one. That should be fine. Your query, Control V to paste, and let's see how this looks. Looking just fine, and this should be good. But I want to make sure that this actually looks good. Let's remove this div and let's reload. And I guess I'm making some mistake here. So class is form control, form check input. Let's put the classes form check input, and let's also move this checkbox towards the bottom, MB3, and I don't want this form check. This was for checkbox. Now this should be good. Let's reload and see how it looks. Not bad and not good as well. So I'll have to add this class. So let's copy this and let's paste it here. MB3 form check, and yeah, this should be good now. All right, so we are good to go. Phone number, comments. I need the couple discount, and once somebody submits it, it is submitting to the localhost dashboard. So one mistake here, we'll have to submit it to slash my form. We'll have to submit it to my forms. Okay, so let's make it my forms, and if I submit it, it will be submitted to my forms to the same page. Okay. All right. So if I enter name, email address, phone number, and comments, I need them here. Okay. I need them in my PHP script, and I need them stored to my database. So let's go. Let's change this to PHP. Let's change this to PHP, and MySQLi is equal to new MySQLi. We have already connected to the database. Let's get all the parameters. Now we'll go to the PHP documentation and we will search for $_request. Now what is this $_request? This will actually tell me whether the request is a GET request or a POST request. Okay. How do I find whether my request is a GET or POST request? I can simply say if $_server request method is equal to POST. If it is equal to POST, I can simply echo, just for testing, POST request and then semicolon. Let's test it. So if I'm reloading this page, nothing is happening, but the moment I click submit, it should have displayed this thing, POST request. I'm not sure why it is not displaying. Maybe I'm making some mistakes. Let me echo this thing. Let me say echo. I'll say echo and then $server request method. Let's see what it shows me. Let's reload the page. It says get, and let's fill the form. I'll say stf@something.something, submit, and it still says get, which is kind of concerning. Let's see what's wrong here. So in my form, I've said method is equal to post and action is equal to my forms. Let's see what's wrong. So I'll go to inspect, I'll go to network. The moment I click submit, this is a post request and it says moved permanently. This is a get request. Okay, so it says 301 moved permanently. So the thing is that we need to add an extra slash here. Okay. And now if I click on submit, it says post request. So if I submit this form, this is a post request. But if I reload this page, or rather if I click on this URL bar and enter, if I visit this URL directly, this is a GET request. Okay. So let's try to fill in some details. Harry@cwh.com, and I'm entering some random phone number, and I'll say comment. I need the couple discount, and let's click on submit. And the moment I click on submit, it says post request. So as we can see here, $_post and the name of the input tag will give me the value of the corresponding input tag. Let me show you what this means. I can create different variables. I can say $name is equal to $_post name, or I can directly use this variable as well. So let's see how we can create this table. Let's complete creation of this table, which we have not completed yet, by first adding two fields. The first one is going to be comments and the second one is going to be couple discount. So let's say add two columns, and this will add two columns. The first one is going to be comments and the second one is going to be discount. Discount is going to be a boolean. So let me search for boolean. This is going to be a boolean, and comments is going to be text. Okay. Let's save it, and it says please enter valid value length. So for serial number, I'm going to say 100. For name, I'm going to say 255. For email, let's say 23 characters. For phone, let's say 12 characters, or say 13 if somebody wants to put their country code as well. For comments, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 characters. For discount, since it is a boolean, we don't have to tell how many characters. And this creates our table, and wow, everything is working. Let's try to insert some data. So serial number is going to be 1, and also I want to auto increment it. So let's go to structure. And let's make this a primary key. So how do we make it a primary key? We can click on primary, and now serial number is a primary key which will automatically increment. Okay. Let's go to insert, and let's try to insert some data. So I'll say Harry, email is going to be harry@cwh.com. Phone number is going to be this. Please don't dial this phone number. this is a comment, and 1 discount is going to be 1. Yes, I need discount, and this is our query to insert the form data. So let's copy this query and let's create a variable, a string. I'll say query is equal to, and let's use double quotes. So we are using double quotes. We are saying insert into my form, and in these fields insert these values. So how do we concatenate strings in PHP? All we need to do is we need to use a dot operator, and we can say dollar and dollar underscore post, and let me copy this. Serial number is automatic, so let's not insert serial numbers. So let's get rid of this thing. Inside, or rather in place of Harry, I want to insert name. In place of this thing, I want to insert email. Then in place of this, I need phone. So let's say phone. And in place of this, we need comment. So let's say comment or query. And here we need whether this checkbox is checked or not. So dollar underscore post, and in place of name, we want to put it as what is the name of our checkbox? Let's see. The name of our checkbox is, let's call it discount. And we'll have to add name attribute as well. Name is equal to discount, and name is equal to discount. So discount, query, name, email, phone, and query and discount. Okay, so we don't have query, we have comments in place of query in the database, but let's call it discount. All right, so everything works. So name, email, phone, query, and discount. All right, so let's see if we have the name set in all the input tags. Type is equal to checkbox, name is equal to discount. All right, type is equal to okay, so this is a text area, so I'll have to add name. Name is equal to query, so let's call it query. And let's have name is equal to phone. Name is equal to phone. Let me change it to HTML because I'm using HTML. So let's also add name is equal to email here, and name is equal to name here. So name is equal to name. Now let's try to submit this form, and if we get any errors, we'll see. Okay, so let's say comment, and yes, I need couple discounts, submit, and it says syntax error, unexpected variable $query on line 12. So let's see what's wrong. All right, so I see what the problem is. Let's change this to PHP, and it says that $query is equal to this. So since I was getting some parse errors while using these values directly, what I did was I created separate variables for name, email, phone, query, and discount, and used those variables like this. So this is how you typically deal with this situation. So I'm going to remove all these things, all these dummy variables. I also want to remove this query call. And as you can see, whenever post request is made to this endpoint, we first connect to the database. So let me write it down here. Connect to the database. This is the first step. And then if the request method is post, then what do? You store the data. I'll remove this. You store the data in the database using the SQL query. So this is how we typically deal with it. The request method is post, then we fetch the name, email, phone number, query, and discount, and then we create a query, and then we simply execute that query. That's about it, as simple as that. And if this doesn't execute, then we are going to see this, which is our index.php page, which is simply rendering of HTML. Let's see how the page looks like at this point. So this get query is removed, everything is working fine. Another thing that I want to do is I want to go to the structures. I want to edit this primary key, and I want to enable auto increment. Ideally, I should have done this while creating the schema, but since I forgot that, I'm going to do it now, and I'm going to click save. Awesome. So we have altered this table, and we have added auto increment to this field, which means that when we don't supply serial number, we are going to see an auto increment on serial number. I'm going to show that to you. So let's try to fill the form. Let's see what we have in the table at this point. So we have this Harry at CWH, this thing. Let's try to fill it. Harry, new email at harry.com. Let's say 12340000, and let's say the comments is I am testing, and let's not check this, I need the couple discount, and let's click submit, and we have an error. So it says that undefined array key discount in line number 12. So let's see. So there is no discount, it says. Let's see if the name is discount or not. So input type is equal to checkbox. Name is discount, but it says that it's not there. Undefined array key discount. In order to fix this, I'm going to use isSet. So I'll say if isSet, if this thing is set, then you set the value of discount variable to $post discount. Otherwise, $post discount is going to be false. So let's set it to false. False and semicolon. And this should work. Let's see if this works. Reload, continue, and it says unexpected token is set, expecting. Okay, let me see if there is any issue with the brackets. Yes, there are. So let's close this bracket. So I opened this bracket and then I will close this bracket here. Yes, and now this should work. Reload, continue. Another issue is here. So it says incorrect integer value for column discount at row 1. Let's see if discount is an integer. Let's see the structure. So discount is a tiny int. Okay, so discount is a tiny int, and we'll have to convert it to tiny. So if is set discount, then discount is equal to, we'll say 1, otherwise discount is 0. So if this is set, then we'll say it's 1, otherwise it's 0. And please work this time. And yes, it works. Okay, so let's see if we have any data in our table. We'll click on browse, and yes, we have the data in our database, which is a great thing. Let's try to fill this form yet again. I'll say Harry, and then email address is harry at cwh.com. Phone number is 123. Comments is comments. Let's check this time, and I clicked submit, and let's see if the data is sent. Yes, it is. Now there is one issue here. Whenever I'm sending or submitting the data to the database, I don't see an alert. So let's get an alert. So I'll say getbootstrap.com. I'll go to docs and I'll find an alert. And what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to show a dismissible alert. So this is a dismissible alert. And I'm going to show this using PHP, and I'm going to show this right after the navbar. So let's open this PHP script and let's show this. Okay, so let's say echo, and let's have a single quote. Let's use say backticks, and let's use semicolon, and I'll say if show alert, if $show alert, then you show this. Okay, then only you show this, otherwise you don't have to show this. Now what exactly is this show alert? Show alert is going to be a variable which will by default be false. So I'm going to say show alert is false. This is going to be false whenever somebody visits this page, but whenever there is this request method equals to post, I'm going to set this to true. I'm going to say this is going to be true. So you have to show the alert. And I'm not going to say holy guacamole. Rather, I'm going to say success. Your forms. You should receive a call from a representative soon. Okay. And I'm going to change this warning to success, which will make this alert green. Okay, let's try to fill some values and let's try to write something. I don't need couple discount, and this did not work. Why? Not sure why it did not work. The values logged to the database, but this alert thing is not working. So I'll have to see why it is not working. And before that, I'm going to add some links to my navbar. So where is my navbar? Here is my navbar. So I'm going to say whenever somebody clicks on Harry Fitness, they should be redirected to the home page. And whenever somebody clicks on home, they should be directed to the home page. And this time if I click on home, nothing happens. Okay, so now if I click on home, I'm being taken to the dashboard. So I should not go to the dashboard, I should go to /my forms, yes. Yeah, so I'm going to my forms whenever I'm clicking on Harry Fitness or home. Let's see if it works. Let's see if this show alert works. It doesn't work. Okay, let's see what's wrong. So show alert is false and show alert is true when somebody is making a post request. So when show alert is true, why is this not showing up is the question. Let's try to remove this and let's see if there is some issue. Let's try to check. Okay, so if I click continue, it doesn't show up, which is a problem. Why is it not showing up? Okay, so the problem is I'm using backticks, which is definitely a problem. Rather, what I should be doing is I should cut this, create a new file, Control N to create a new file, and replace this single quote with double quote with single quote. Okay, yeah, this should work. This should definitely work, and it is going to work, don't worry. And this time I can do this and it is going to definitely work. Let's reload, continue. Success, you should receive a call from our representative soon, and I can dismiss this alert. And let's try to fill this form once again, and let's try to see if we get an alert when we try to directly access this page. We are not seeing any alert when we try to directly access this page. Rather, when we try to fill the form and if we try to enter something, we see this success, you should receive a call from a representative soon. So this was about how to create a form using PHP and MySQL. Now there are a lot of things which could be done from UI standpoint, from database standpoint. You can change the schema, you can also make this scalable, you can add an ability to create forms such that a particular user can have 10-20 different forms. You can create this field as dynamic and people can add these type of fields, name fields, email fields, phone fields, text areas. All this is possible. You'll have to write some code, that's all. So this was a basic intro of how to exactly store the data to the database, how to execute SQL queries. And once you know this, I think sky is the limit. You can always take your app to the next level. So I hope you loved this tutorial. Thank you so much guys for watching this video, and I will see you next time.